Brandon Stubbs for TheTitleFight.com. Was able to sit down and talk with Anna Julaton, female boxer. We spoke about her career, the evolution of women's boxing, how it can grow here in the States, and her plans here for 2013. I just had a few questions for you. For starters, you are one of the top female fighters in boxing right now. I know you started off early as far as combat sports goes, in training in mixed martial arts, but what made you fall in love with the sport of boxing to where a pretty woman such as yourself would get punched in the face?
That's funny. I've always been a big fan of martial arts. I mean, I've been practicing it for about 20 years, and I always loved the fighting concept and the strategy that entails in the arts. And when I was introduced to boxing, I found it was the exact same comparison. So I instantly fell in love with it, and here I am.
Okay. Now, actually, this week marked the anniversary of you making your pro debut. Your pro debut was here February 11th of 2007. Did you do anything special for that here this week?
No, not at all. Just the usual.
Just usual.
Training, eating right, yeah, and watching boxing.
Okay. Well, it's nothing wrong with that at all. Now, you're currently riding a 2-fight win streak. Your last defeat was here almost a year ago in March of last year to the reigning WBO champion in Marcos. It was a very controversial loss. What do you think was maybe the biggest thing you took away from that defeat, which really shouldn't have been a defeat?
No, I appreciate that comment. It's funny because to this day I still don't feel like I lost a fight. And it's funny when you find athletes who are into their craft and for a long time, and they feel like they've done a performance that they're happy with. They feel like they can get away with that. I was watching Robin Roberts, and she was interviewing Michelle Kwan. Just giving an update of where she's at and having her talk a little bit about her career in ice skating. And Michelle Kwan, for one of the Olympics, she received a silver medal. And to this day, she still believes in her mind that she won the gold medal. And she had to step back a little bit and kind of retract herself and say, yeah, in fact, I did win the silver medal. Just kind of just get back into reality. And I can relate to that because I feel exactly the same way with the Argentina fight. Overall, I feel like a lot of people support competitive fights, and I felt like I was able to bring that to the table. And to this day, people still talk about the fight, and I feel like that's what boxing is all about. The fans, they just want to see a lot of action, a lot of competitiveness. Two fighters at their highest level just go in there and just basically fight for a title, for the win, and so forth. So for me, I just feel like that's just part of the sport, and I gotta stay positive, move on to bigger goals, and just continue on. So it's a great experience. I don't take it back. I feel like I did what I felt like I was supposed to do. I dropped her in front of her hometown, in front of 40,000 people. With that, for me, it's exciting. It's something that I could always refer back to. It's just what it is. Hopefully we'll get a rematch, and hopefully I can have it sit out in the Philippines, so we'll see.
Well, that actually brings us here to our next question is, we're now here almost 2 months down here in 2013. What are your plans? Rumor has you're trying to get back in the ring here maybe in back part of March, and you said maybe a rematch with Marcos here in 2013 in the Philippines. Maybe you can give us an exclusive. Are you going to be fighting in March?
I would love to say what's going to happen. I was supposed to have a fight scheduled, in fact, around this time in the end of February, but it fell through. Leaving for Orlando next year, I'm going to meet with my promoter, Alan Tremblay, and we're going to go and talk about the details. But there's been a lot of work that's been going on over the past few weeks, past couple of months, about having a fight set up possibly over in the Philippines and in other places. So hopefully by then, by the end of the month, I'll be able to officially say what will be next for 2013.
Okay. Now, you said fighting in the Philippines, you fought in Argentina, you fought in Mexico. The crowds internationally for women's boxing they're huge, they're ginormous. Comparing it to fighting here in the States, Obviously, it's a little bit smaller crowd. The energy isn't as big. How much of a how exciting is it to fight in front of such large crowds for female boxing?
It's electrifying. Just being able to go in different countries and receive the reception that I get as a female athlete is amazing, and I I appreciate that because the fans they like to see people just work hard, go out there and perform, and I feel like that's universal. When I have fought here in the states, in fact, in my the earlier part of my professional career, I had a couple of fights out in Las Vegas, and I feel like the crowd they're still as excited whenever they see a female bout. So I think overall, fighting is fighting, and if people are able to see that in the ring, whether you're male or female, they'll applaud for it. So I just feel like if you're a fan of good work, you'll cheer on for good work. So.
And with that here in the States, with women's boxing not gaining the full notoriety that it deserves, what do you think is really the push that's needed for it to kind of go to that next level, to be on that next stage? Would it mean maybe a network getting behind women's boxing, maybe a top flight promotion, a top rank, a golden boy, a main events to get behind women's boxing and put it on their cards to where it's televised? What do you think is really needed to help get women's boxing over the hump and on that next level?
Ooh, that's a tough question. but I mean, first off, I do want to compliment you for just knowing what women's boxing is about and that women's boxing is popular internationally. Most interviews I've had acquainted with, they actually don't know that fact, and there should be more people like you who actually would educate the audience with factual information that women's boxing is extremely popular overseas, and I'm glad you're able to, say that out officially, publicly. And yeah, that's a loaded question. I have a lot of answers with that, but I'll try my best to keep it in under 60 seconds. I really feel like the momentum from the 2012 Olympics gave a lot of women boxers massive exposure, especially with people like Clarissa Shields, Katie Taylor, Nicole Adams, who won gold medals, and also gave out such a big poise with themselves, just being very honest and having a positive image in front of TV screens all over the world. I think this gave the initial, the first impression of how popular women's boxing is to major networks worldwide. So I feel like people are able to really grasp the energy, the excitement women's boxing brings everywhere. And I feel like here in the States, we need to continue pushing that momentum, and where more boxing writers like yourself not only support the popularity of women boxers, but also highlight some of the female boxing stars. I mean, I'm talking about women with obviously experience, with titles, who have popularity and TV backing, like we have seen at the Olympics. And if they can be promoted correctly, where you always bring out facts and having the enthusiasm out there, where you can continually showcase these women, and I feel like a lot of the TV networks here in the U.S. will be able to kind of just see it for themselves, kind of feel it out, and I mean, you can just name a lot of examples. I mean, I'm sure you talked about this earlier with Angelo when because I was looking these two fighters up. I mean, I have in the past, but just in particular right now, like Zelina Munoz, who has a phenomenal record of 36 wins with 24 knockouts. She has a big KO record. Who's rated top 3 for her weight class of flyweight, 115. And then there's Mariana Juarez, who's 36 wins with 18 knockouts or something like that, with 2 losses. I mean, these women with these great records, and they have this great big following. I think if they were to have if they were able to be shown on TV, I think it would just really just accentuate from the momentum the Olympics brought along with that. And obviously just being able to have it go out there. I mean, we just need to talk about it. We just need to have the image instilled nationally here in the U.S. And I feel like once we're able to accomplish that, I mean, it's going to take a lot of work, and it has to come from everyone. I feel like the rest will follow. You'll start to see all the women boxers come out on these major TV networks. So I think it's a work in progress. I feel like women boxers have definitely come in a long way. Nevertheless, the women's boxers worldwide. It's just only a matter of time. So I feel optimistic about it, and I feel like you do too. And I hope a lot of other writers will also bring out the word of that as well.
Well, kind of on that same token, do you think maybe the explosion of women's mixed martial arts over the last couple of years can possibly help women's boxing as well and show, hey, this is a product that can sell? I mean, for instance, we got next weekend women headlining a pay-per-view for UFC, which really a year ago, their president said no way you would ever see women fighting in their organization. Now they're headlining a pay-per-view. Could that actually, in some ways, help the sport of women's boxing as well, showing, okay, these women can do it in mixed martial arts, we can also do it in the ring?
Absolutely. Last week I was over at the Alder Edgar fight for UFC here in Las Vegas, and I've heard Dana White say something like, he said that Ronda Rousey, we haven't even spent anything on promotions for her, but for her fight against Carmouche, they already sold like $750,000 worth of tickets, and that's without spending any money on promotions. And I feel like when you're able to say numbers in that fashion from people like Dana White, and have it publicly, and having other people just know about it, sure, I can see that help all female fighters, whether you're in MMA or in boxing. I think it's just the whole image of women getting into the ring or into the octagon that is a novelty to, I'd say, to maybe the majority of the people here in the U.S. when it's a norm, it's normal internationally. And I feel like once we're able to have that set, that image, obviously with the help of other female fighters being promoted, yeah, of course. And which is why I feel so confident in seeing a lot of more women boxers being televised on TV, because there's this image that's changing, and it's changing continually, and all these women are fighting, and people are fighting for it, and like I said, it's only a matter of time.
Now, with you having a little bit of a mixed martial, well, not a little bit, with you training for many years in mixed martial arts and kind of seeing it exploded the way it has over the course of the last few years, have you ever thought about maybe, hey, if I can't get a fight booked, maybe dipping your feet into the mixed martial arts?
No, although the thought, it excites me. That sounds like fun, but it's definitely different from boxing, and I feel like that's where my heart is at. I have a lot of respect for MMA fighters, and I respect their training. I'm a big fan, and just to see them fight for the conditions that they're in, it's not something I want to get into. I love the science of boxing. I love pugilism. It's a different art. So to answer your question, no, I don't see myself in MMA. I want to fully concentrate on boxing and get more fights as a boxer, get more exposure as a boxer.
I can respect that. I can respect that. Now, you're looked upon as as a huge role model in the Filipino community. I have to say, with me being in Vegas tons of times for Manny Pacquiao fights, Filipino people are some of the nicest, coolest people ever. And you guys know how to party. I gotta also say that. With that being stated, how does it feel to be a role model for your community and just really showing young people the right way of going about doing things?
I feel honored. Back when I was an amateur, I've had such a huge support from the Filipino community, and it's inspired me. They put me in on stages of where I can go and share my work with other people, and I take that to heart. And I take full responsibility where I know if there's a little child or if there's a family, or if there's a young lady, and you have these people watching me, I want to be the best person that I can be for them. I'm really thankful that the Filipino community has always treated me as an individual and let me be who I am. And it's one of the biggest reasons why I want to continue on in the sport. I feel like I have something to give back. So, I can't complain.
Now, we're going to get you out here on this last question. Here at TheTitleFight.com, we always like speaking to fighters and knowing what drives them in the sport and who they looked up to when they were coming up. So the question is, if you had to pick four people, your Mount Rushmore of boxing, four people you want to engrave in stone on a giant mountain, who would those four people be?
That's a tough one, but it's tough because I feel like there should be a lot of boxers that should be highlighted in that fashion. I guess for all boxing fans. But if you're asking if it's my personal Mount Rushmore, I definitely have to say Manny Pacquiao has to be up there. I mean, I feel like I wouldn't be able to have this interview right now with you if it wasn't for Manny Pacquiao. I feel like a lot of my success came from Manny Pacquiao, and for him being Filipino, and also for him just being able to reach out and support other Filipino boxers. I feel like I was able to receive a lot of guidance from him and a lot of support. So he's definitely on that list. For the rest, I mean, these are just my personal favorites. I'm a big Salvador Sanchez fan. I'm a big Roberto Duran fan, and yeah, if I only had to choose one more, it'd be a toss-up between Mike Tyson and Sugar Ray Leonard. I mean, but those are my personal favorites. It's kind of hard to say who would I choose for a Mount Rushmore of boxers.
Yeah, it's just your personal. Yeah, it's your personal four, not who maybe paved the way per se, but four people that you kind of look at and be like, these are the people why I enjoy the sport of boxing.
Yeah, I would definitely have to say those fighters. I appreciate the work that they do behind for boxing. Like, they understand the techniques, the pacing of it, the timing points, their styles, and they're able to bring in their own personality, their fighting spirit right behind it. When I look at a boxer, I categorize them like firsthand, whether they're a boxer first or a fighter first. And I feel like with those four boxers, they're a combination of both at the same time. Like they would fight with technique, with anticipation, with being clever. So yeah, those are my top four.
Okay. All right. Well, again, we appreciate you taking our time here with TheTitleFight.com. I will definitely say this. You will have definitely set the standard for the female boxers here for the site. We're definitely going to reach out to more. We're definitely going to cover the sport because the sport deserves as much coverage as the men do. So we appreciate you taking out time out of your busy schedule to speak with us. We will definitely be keeping up tabs with you. Where can the people find you at? You website, Twitter, Instagram you want to shout out?
I'd say the best place to look for me will be under Twitter. It'll be at Anna Julaton. Spell my name is ANAJULATON. So you can find me there. I'm sure I'll have my updates. And if you want to look in a little further, my website is AnnaJulaton.com.
All right.
Thanks again.
All right,
Thank you,
not a
Brandon.
problem. Thank you, Anna. You have a good evening.